In this video, we will show you how to install the TDengine ODBC driver and then connect Power BI or any other tool that depends on ODBC to your TDengine Cloud or your TDengine Enterprise instance. I'm going to sign into my cloud account here. The easiest way to go about doing this is once you sign into your cloud instance, you can click on the Tools menu on the left here. Then click on Power BI. You will notice that there are a bunch of other cards here. Clicking on the card will give you the specific instructions to install the plugin or the driver for that particular application or tool. And it'll also guide you on how to connect that tool to TDengine. So I'm going to click on Power BI. Now you will have to do some prerequisites such as installing the Microsoft Visual C++ runtime library if it's not on your platform, and you can find that in this link. Then you can download the TDengine Windows client installation package from this link. And once you've installed those, you can then go ahead and configure the ODBC data source. Installing these two is quite trivial. I'm not going to make that part of this video. Once you're ready to configure your ODBC data source, the main thing you need to do is make sure you copy this URL. This is the URL that's for your particular instance once you log in. So now I can go back to my Windows desktop, type in ODBC, and then choose the ODBC data sources app. And we want the 64-bit app in my case. I'm running on a 64-bit operating system. And the TDengine driver is also 64-bit. I can now click on Add. And since I've already set up the TDengine driver, it's here. That would also be the case if you had gone through all the prerequisites and installed the runtime library and the TDengine ODBC driver. So you can click Finish here. I'm going to call this Solar Farms because I'm going to connect to a database that I had set up in one of our previous videos, which is ingesting data from an MQTT data source. And that MQTT data source is being written to by a simulator that's simulating 3 solar farms, each with a bunch of strings and solar panels in them. I'm going to paste that URL that I just copied. And you can also specify the database here. In this case, I'm going to specify renewables because that's the database I want to connect to. Because it is possible that this instance has more than one database, of course. I'm going to click on Test Connection. And as you can see, it's connected to the renewables database using my token. So I'm going to click OK. And I'm done here. And now I can click on Power BI. I'm going to now connect to TDengine and get data from my database into Power BI. Click on Other. Click on ODBC. Click on Connect. And now as you can see, it's already connecting to solar farms here. That's my database. So now if I want to get data, I can of course get the raw data simply by doing select star from solar farms. And that's the name of my super table within the renewables database. But I also want to restrict this because I don't want to get a bunch of data into Power BI, which I don't need, especially if it's a large amount of data. So for example, I want to get data from the past 1 hour. I can click OK over here. And as you can see, it's got some data. I can load this data. And this is just a preview. As you can see, the data in the preview has been truncated. You could transform this data if you want to. In my case, I don't want to because I want all of this data. I'm going to click Load. And now it's going to actually download the data for the past 1 hour from the renewables database and from the solar farm super table into Power BI. Now that that's done, you can see the columns from that query in here. So there's ambient temperature, current, the power output, site string, the timestamp, the voltage, the wind speed. These are not in any particular order. You can add the data fields in the values here and then start visualizing your data. It's actually better to do aggregation in TDengine instead of doing it in your client tools, because TDengine is far more computationally efficient. So for example, if I want to do an aggregation query for the past whatever number of hours, and I want to see the average power output by site, I can do something like this. So we're looking at the average power output, and we have the site in here, and then we're doing for the past 3 hours, but I could even do 8 hours, for example. And I'm partitioning by site at an interval for 1 hour, and I'm ordering by the site ascending. All right. So this is an example of an aggregation query that you could do, and then just visualize it in Power BI. I'm going to click OK over here. And as you can see, it's able to get that information to us. So I'm going to load this data. And that's query 3 over here. And now this will be very easy to visualize in a bar chart or a line chart. And this is essentially how you get data into Power BI from TDengine.